Hello, in the following lesson we'll be talking about sections and elevations. So let's start with an elevation. What is an elevation? Elevations and plans actually differ quite ideologically. So elevation is an exact replicate of what is seen on the plan, and the plan is actually kind of like a map of space. The symbols are used to represent standard elements on plan, even if in reality those elements differ either in shape or size from the accepted symbol. So elevation is basically a scaled drawing that is showing either a vertical view or kind of a detail of a certain area. So in other words, it's a vertical plan. And in garden design, it's generally used to illustrate a flat surface, such as wall or a fence, the facade of the house or building, or a view of a particular item or feature, such as a seat or pergola. And elevations can be diagrammatic and simple, or they can be embellished and made to look more like sketches. And it is, again, entirely up to you to choose what you want to communicate to your client. And it gives us a view as if you were standing exactly at the front of the garden. So the elevation drawing should not be a perspective drawings. And they should be clearly labeled as to what kind of point of view we're looking at. So again, for example, east facing elevation or east elevation. So how do you draw an elevation? So when you're drawing an elevation, you should stick to the actual plan of the garden for guidance. So you decide on what area you want to draw an elevation of, and then stick the plan down onto the drawing with the area you're going to project up from lying horizontally, and then you line up with your parallel bar or T-square, but make sure you have enough space in which to project your drawing up. And if you are drawing an elevation of an existing element of the garden, for example like a house facade or fence, then you can obviously get the dimensions from the survey and you just draw it up with the exact height. And if it's an area that is going to be designed as new, you will obviously have to draw everything up to the correct scale. And this is what drawing up an elevation actually looks like in real. So we have to remember that the planting plan is 2D drawing and it's based on a flat plan. But when we turn the plan at 90 degrees, and look at it from a side view, you can see the circles are already kind of giving you very good indication of what the border might look like in 3D view. And in an asymmetric angle, you might begin to understand why I said at the beginning that the planting is just a beginning of a 3D space of the garden. Notice that the tall, small spread plants, like the grasses for example, are not represented by circles but by cones. Like this, you can see almost in 3D. So this shows a planting plan and elevation, and you can see how the plants are represented in this case to give it the 3D impression of space in this site. And if you prefer drawing your elevations by hand, then all you need to do is just to take the planting plan and project it up. So take the trees first, just project the lines of the sides of the circles up, and this will give you the spread of the plant. And all you need to do is just to kind of figure out the height of the tree and then just sketch it in, so it's kind of visible what kind of plant it is. And I'll again link quite a lot of resources and different ideas in the resources of the course, but you are more than welcome to go online and look up different elevations and different styles of different designers and plants people. And lastly, we'll talk about section. And section is very similar to elevation, but it is basically kind of a slice through the plan. And it can be shown on the whole length of the garden to show, for example, the change of levels. And that is very good for the contractors to show any details. Just as well as, for example, for water feature, where there is a lot of kind of hidden details and crevices that are very important for someone who is creating it. And again, very important thing, just like with the elevation, it is important to note on the drawing where the section is taken from. So you can again use a line from the plan or from the drawing to the section and note on it, for example, a section of the west-facing border. And both section and elevation are very good to use in kind of a more relaxed, sketchy ways, for example, at the early stages of the design. And this is very good to show your kind of creative spirit, also to play around and experiment, but also to communicate your ideas to the client, so it's more understandable. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Ask me any questions if you do have some, and I will see you in the next lesson.